What's good? Happy Monday. LL, we're in the building, the ONORA boys, MALIK, ZAIRE, SHAUN Davis. And of course, we are brought to you by ONORA Whiskey, ONORAWhiskey.com. It is that premium American whiskey, ONORAWhiskey.com. And if you need to drink, by all means, make sure that you do it. Come on, bro, you on mute. Hey, this is the second show in a row. You muted you. This is the second show in a row.
Looking at you, not it's the peripherals, not the same.
It started over. ONORA boys in the building, brought to you by ONORA Whiskey, ONORAWhiskey.com. It's that premium American whiskey, ONORAWhiskey.com. And if you're gonna drink, by all means, make sure you do it
responsibly.
You gotta do it responsibly.
Absolutely.
Do you know what time it is? Tell me, do you know? Do you know what time it is? Tell me, do you know? Do you know what time it is? Tell me, do you know? Do you know what time it is? Swizzy, hey, hey, I said, come on, come on, hey,
Yeah.
come on, I said, come on, hey, talk, you getting money, homie, show me if it's like
Lucky Lefty podcast, fall camp done. 2 more weeks, ladies and gentlemen. August 31st, our station. We're walking up in there trying to snatch hearts.
We August 30th.
Yeah, we're not trying to tiptoe. We're coming into SEC country, stumping like big dogs, trying to snatch hearts. So we'll talk about a lot of things. We have captains left. We have captains. We have a starting quarterback that's been named. We got a lot of things left. Got a lot of things. Got some things that Al Golden said, some things that Mike Denbrock said that might make you feel good, left, might give you some pause. But we're going to talk about those things. And then we're going to have our fall camp takeaways. Like, what do we take away from fall camp? Like, what do we take away? So we're going to give you about 4 to 5 things, 4 to 5 things to make you feel good about the Notre Dame fall camp and where the program is going. Other than that, Left, how was your weekend?
Man, it's been great. I'm just really excited because the season is this close. There's always that couple weeks or so before the season starts where you go like, man, it just feels like it's so far away, because once the season hits, I just always laugh at the excitement that I have now. And then by week 9 of like that Thursday night football game that I totally don't even get to watch, I'm just so like, give me to the prime time games of the weekend. It's always a funny transition. But first day of school vibes for sure, getting ready for the season. And August 30th is our first game, and the 31st following up with a Notre Dame victory. And I, like you said, a lot's going on, but I am glad to see that Notre Dame is looking to have all the cross their T's and dot their I's, getting ready for that first game.
Let me ask you a question. When you talk about captains, naming of captains, how important is the naming of captains? Is it really ceremonial? Does it really say a lot about the heart of the team? And are the only captains of the team really the people that are named?
Yeah, I mean, captains, it's a very interesting thing. I mean, it matters to those that win. And I think guys that, you want to be named one. It's one of those things where you're not like necessarily aspiring to be a captain, but you're very honored with the nomination. You're hoping they just tell you, okay, we think you're the captain of the team. So yeah, there's a definite essence to it that you get excited about when you get named one, but there's some ceremonial. It's like depending on the team. Like some teams do the ceremonial captain where the guy that probably never really makes impact on the game, but he does special teams or, one of those things. So it means different things for different teams. You saw Dion do the captains and the leaders and the dogs or something like that. So
right.
I think it does give a little identity when you do it that way. But from a captain standpoint, Notre Dame is a great resume builder to have on your Indeed profile or your Notre Dame resume going out there. It sounds good to have the C on your chest. And, being in the running for it, it's only when you feel like you're expected to be a captain and you're not a captain is when it's a problem. It's only a few guys that really feel like that, you know.
And you know what? You have a very interesting story going back to the 2016 season where a captain was named, a particular player was named the captain, but you were definitely, if you asked anonymously of the players, the locker room definitely recognized you.
Oh, like got robbed
Right.
all the way,
Right.
got robbed, and it was just one of those weird, like they ain't even want to like talk or speak on it. It was just like, okay, that's who it is. We, you know, it's no big deal type. But definitely felt like I got robbed that year. But you know, I mean, it's one of those things where you just feel good being part of the team, and at that point, if they're in the running, you know that you have some weight or influence on the team, especially going into a game day.
All right. So Lucky Lucky Podcast, when Marcus Freeman met with the media as the last practice of fall camp culminated in a scrimmage, we'll get Marcus Freeman's thoughts on how that scrimmage went, along with offensive coordinator and defensive coordinators Mike Denbrock and Al Golden coming up shortly. But at that time, he said that the vote had not taken place. So the assumption is that either later on that evening on Saturday or Sunday, the vote for captain took place, and Notre Dame has come up with 5 team captains going into this season. And I'm very interested as I give the names left. Are these the names that you expected, or is there someone else that you felt like, they could have snuck in there?
Okay.
Benjamin Morrison, team captain. You camped with him out there in Arizona. You got his thoughts. You sat down. You spoke with him. You spoke with his father. Just your overall thoughts on Ben Morrison being named the captain and what you look for out of Ben Morrison this year.
Yeah, if you're gonna build the captain roster, it definitely has to be one of the guys that's a first round pick indefinitely. One of the better players on the team, a guy that the team will actually listen to because they like, okay, he's got the respect on the field, this, that, and the third. You know, that's your Leonidas of the group. But yeah, definitely think that well deserving, and obviously, you know, you want to showcase Ben as much as you can because he deserves it, but also has got a lot of leadership quality. I mean, I just think the kid's a really good guy, man, and to see his family be really good and to have that captain on his chest might even raise his draft stock, because I just think little stuff like that matters when you start talking about getting into that top 10. So it's a great move to put him there, and it's a statement. Shit, if you put the corner as a captain, that means something about that secondary is right. So it's good to see that.
Also, congratulations to BMO being named first team preseason Pro Football Focus All-American, and then Mitchell Evans and Howard Cross were named to the second team. Congratulations on those accomplishments to all 3 of those young men. We stay in the secondary for another captain. Your Nagurski Award winner, looking to double up, might be a first, second round pick. Xavier Watts is a team captain. Your thoughts about Xavier Watts as a team captain and what you expect from him this season?
Yeah, 1 and 2 of the best players on the team. They definitely earned it from the awards and accomplishments that they were able to earn after last year. So it makes sense. He's the player of the year. That means all the guys included, he's the best one. Definitely deserves to be a captain. Good showcase marketing ability. Great story behind it, considering he came in as something else. Transformed, adversity, grit, all those good things, turned him into what he is today. Great inspiration for guys that are, you know, trying to find a role on the team. I think Xavier Watts is a good example of what happens if you just trust the process and you know, it works out. And he just happens to carry it out on the elite level. And for them two to be captains, a high expectation, but they're the leaders of the team, essentially, from the defensive perspective, especially. So it's only right that they're captains, considering that they make the most plays on defense, and we depend on them the most. So when it comes in tight times throughout the games, those are 2 guys you're definitely going to listen to.
Yeah, you talk about problems, and Colin Klein, he met with the media down in College Station, and I was shaking my head listening to him because the buzz coming out of the camp is that the Texas A&M offense is having a problem. putting anything together against that Texas A&M defense. And I know the front four are pretty good, but the linebackers and the DBs are questionable, and you can't move the ball. That lets me to the offensive line. Yeah, you have questions as well. And then on top of that, Left Colin Klein says, yeah, we got 4 to 5 receivers we can depend on right now. And I just started shaking my head like,
not enough.
Yeah, that ain't enough, bro. I don't know, man. You know, as a kid, we used to go to the candy store and used to be like 5 cents short. But you know, you knew the owner of the candy store and he knew your parents for years, so he would let you slide and he would just tell you, go ahead, get out of here. You know, he'd give you a little candy bag, your bag of chips. You were 5 cents short. He didn't even worry about it. And then, you know, sometimes you go back and you expect the same treatment and he's just sitting there looking at you like, all right, I let you slide last time, but it's not going to work. I'm sorry, Colin Klein, 4 to 5 is not going to get it. You're a little bit short when it comes to going up against this defensive backfield led by Benjamin Morrison and one Xavier Watts. So I don't know what else to tell you, but, you know, good luck. I'm not going to hold you, but good luck on August 31st. Lucky Lefty podcast. Chicago had to represent, bro. You know, 312 had to represent. That's what we do. 312-847-708, however you want to slice it. Riley Mills, baby. Riley Mills named the captain. I expected this. Riley Mills, your thoughts on him being named the captain, and then what you expect from him, because the combination of Cross and Mills will be heard a lot this season over PAs at Notre Dame Stadium and away stadiums. Why are you shaking your head, Lef?
I don't know. I mean, I guess. Hell, we made Sam a captain last year. Yeah, we just give it out to anybody. I guess. No, I think it's one of those things where, you know, you got to carry the cross, and I don't think the C means the same on his chest as it does to the other two, because I don't think
anybody
really
say
knows
that. You're talking about just star potential. Is that what you're talking about?
More so, I mean, we don't know what we're going to get, as opposed to we know we're going to get from Xavier Watson and Ben Morrison, you know, the de facto bricks of the team and this, that, and third. Riley Leonard just got here. So, I mean,
no, wait a minute. I said Riley Mills. Let me get to Riley Leonard. This is Riley Mills. I was about to say, now I understand the direction you were going. You were off course. Riley Mills. Let me get you ready to jump on Riley Leonard being a captain already. Good Lord. Ladies and gentlemen, look, let me ease you into it. I want the positivity first before we got to Riley Leonard. Man, you heard the word Riley and you just start shaking your head, man. And that first names are even spelled the same, bro. Relax, you're a little jumpy.
See, he didn't have a closed caption on it. He ain't had it, so I didn't get to see the whole plate roll transcript of the name. But anyway, Riley Mills, definitely excited. Riley Mills definitely excited. I mean, you know, he's one of those grandfathers, it feels like, of the team. Like, he's been there, he knows how things go. He's that, you know, when all else fails, he got the answers. He's like the janitor of the team. He got the keys to every room, knows all the secrets and the bones where they hide at in the building. You know, he's been there. Been a part of great teams, been around a lot of good players, been in a lot of big moments. So for him to be able to be in a position of a captain, you know, is expected. You know, some of these are like, that's your role. Like, that was the whole point of him coming back, I think, fitting that captain role to lead the team in a better way.
Yeah, you had me confused for a second. I was letting you rock. That's why I stopped you. I'm like, wait a minute. He can't be talking about Riley Mills, bro. I'm like, this brother and Howard Cross, they did their thing last year. But I kind of figured that you got halfway through, like, yeah, okay. He misheard. Let me stop him right now so he can get back on track. His GPS was off a little bit. You know what I mean? Talking team captains right here. Lucky Lefty podcast. Benjamin Morrison, Xavier Watts, and Riley Mills. And now one that I think everyone pretty much knew. even through spring camp, hearing from players and coaches and Jack Kaiser. And I think the importance of Jack Kaiser, a lot of people didn't even know if he would come back for another season, even though he had eligibility. Very intelligent young man, well respected. I'm sure he had plenty of options off the football field that he could immediately have jumped into, especially with the connections you have at a school like Notre Dame and with that degree. But he chose to come back. He chose to come back to a team in a lot of areas that would be very inexperienced at certain positions. And you watch in Atlanta, you watch in Dallas, as I have for the first 2 weeks of the NFL preseason, and you see the success of a J.D. Bertrand. You see the Samaris Leofow is playing possessed for Dallas, bro. He is flying all over the field, making plays. He started this week for Dallas. They rested the starters, but he
wait a minute. J.D. Bertrand to the
J.D. Bertrand is playing really solid. He's playing really solid. I would think Maris has definitely made more plays than J.D. in the preseason. He's made more. Maris,
maybe it's just a good fit. Sometimes football's a foul fit. Dallas knew what they wanted out of Maris. I think he was probably a surprise to many, but not Dallas, and they're getting exactly what they recruited. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So I mean, they are a smallish defense built on speed down in Dallas, which is why they get pushed around a lot of times. Last year, they went the entire season with a 215-pound middle linebacker in the NFL. I still have somebody should have been fired. Personnel, GM, defensive coordinator, somebody has to be fired. If you're playing 215, 220 as a middle linebacker in the NFL, heck, Al Golden doesn't even want that in Notre Dame. You come in at 225, he's like, no, you need to add some more before we can put you on the field. You're not ready. And for that to go for an entire season and into the playoffs, somebody has to be fired, bro.
That's right.
Somebody has to be fired. Lucky Lefty podcast. So Jack Kaiser, definitely one of the captains as expected. What is your expectation of Jack Kaiser going into this season, Left? Is it really just all about a mentorship? Do you think there's another level of play that we can see from him? What's going to be his most important offering to this squad this year?
Well, I just think that it's just more of a stabilizing role. You got to have certain parts of the house to make it stable. And you get a Riley Mills who's got the experience, been there, and a Jack Kaiser with the experience has been there. So you got talented guys, maybe not the best players on the team, but the most informed and what we would consider the wisest, right? Mix that with two other captains who are, the electric part of the team, dynamic players, consider some of the better players on the team. It's a nice mix between a group that can go between all groups, and for them to be able to go between all groups, I think that's the key of making it a unity thing, and then having all guys represented and heard.
Yeah, and so once again, Benjamin Morrison, Xavier Watts, Riley Mills, and Jack Kaiser, 4 of the captains for the 2024 season, and finishing off the list, your 5th captain and newly named starting quarterback for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, Riley Leonard. Go ahead, Left.
I mean, at this point, it's very ceremonial how we go about it. I mean, apparently we just started doing that after me and Deshaun go through Deshaun and Ev go through, because apparently earning it only comes with, pain and heartache. I was just playing. But I do think it's pretty exciting to see that expectation being put on Riley. Like, okay, yeah, like this is not you coming to be a part of something. This is you leading the show, and you get that nomination. And, it's a high expectation. But I do think that, the team and the things that we've heard from the team seem to rally around Riley, and to do it on a short time where the coach is considering it, that must mean they've heard a good influence from the team that was the right direction to go. So I'm all about the time spent, and obviously he's made the time spent make it count. He made it count, so I can appreciate that about him.
You know what's so amazing, Left? Like you said, I think to use a phrase, to go biblical just for a second, right? When pressed by the politicians of the day, and Jesus responded to them when they questioned who he was, and his response was, "Who do men say that I am?" So we can sit here and question and maybe say, maybe this person would have been better. They put in more time. Maybe they deserve it. And like you said, everything we've heard from players within that locker room, and we're going to hear from the coaches coming up later in the show, it's pretty evident that they are impressed very much with Riley Leonard in a short time frame. And that is a feat within itself, to be able to garner that respect in that short of a time period, and to have multiple players on both sides of the ball speak toward that, towards that. That is pretty impressive, and I have to tip my cap.
Yeah,
whatever he's done to be able to do that.
That's pretty good. But we gave Sam Hartman the captain last year, right?
Yeah, that the Sam Hartman. I don't want to compare. The Sam Hartman thing was.
But it's like that just let me know it was a little bit ceremonial, because come on, like Wake Forest was more said about us doing that for him than losing the game. They're like, y'all, he just got there. Y'all nominate, like they was hating almost that we was giving him so much love. So that puts a damper on, for me, on the overall experience of it. However, like you said, for them to have so many people speaking about Riley Leonard that in a short amount of time, like the way they do, man, you really don't hear that same type of talk when it comes to other quarterbacks who've been there. It would be refreshing if the way they talk about Riley, they talked about Steve, and I can see how it can be, So, yeah, shout out to Riley Leonard. Now, does all that translate to the field? I just think that builds that excitement and expectation of what we are requiring from you this year on a short notice.
Yeah. Lucky Lefty podcast. Before we transition to Marcus Freeman and what he had to say about the fall camp and our fall camp takeaways, I'll go ahead and answer these GTB questions, and another question that I think needs to be addressed right now. NC Notre Dame fan, his GTB question left: who has the final say on who is the starting offensive line? Is it Rudolph, Denbrock, or Marcus Freeman?
I'm sure it's Freeman gets told and kind of confirms kind of thing. Denbrock kind of puts the vision out, but Rudolph kind of gives like who his best suggestions from being there every day are. And I'm sure they collaborate a lot on it, but a lot of it kind of pans out and you kind of can just tell. It's probably like maybe splitting hairs on maybe that tackle spot with Charles Jagger leaving, but that seems to have gotten more clear. But other than that, there's the ones usually pretty much stand out when it comes to
that. Once again, we talk about the players, saying who Riley Leonard is and being deserving of the C on his chest. Left, you've told me this, like coaches don't have to say a thing. Like it's more frustrating when you see people getting reps and the players in the locker room are like, that's not the dude. You tell me all the time, Left, dude, you go ask the players who the starters are. They'll tell you who needs to be started. So it's always interesting to see, how things pan out. But then I would love to be a fly on the wall once everyone's announced as starters, to hear the conversations in the dorm rooms and amongst the players and peers to say, man, I don't know about that, or yeah, that's pretty spot on.
Yeah, so it's one of those exciting things that you you get to build that storyline with, that I'm sure they'll talk about that, and Riley's rise to captainhood in the series, the docu-series, because it is something that you wonder, like, man, hey, what was he doing? For such respect to come from a guy that just got there and was barely practicing. And so I'm sure they'll share that journey of what he was doing while he couldn't practice. So it's, good storylines for the season, and it just builds to the expectation of, all right, you're not coming to just do the bare minimum. We're not good with just you winning 10 games. That's just unacceptable.
Right. Lucky Ducky podcast. So this wasn't a GTB question, but I would forget because I was trying to save this towards the end of the show. And I'm going to connect it to a question that Indy Milton fan had that we really never got to because the other shows were really just content packed. So I'm going to connect these right now before we transition to Marcus Freeman. If you give me a few moments left, I'll try to make it as fast as I can. Logan Lawrence asked the question, what's up with Deuce, man? And I'm sure he's asking that because, there was a report put out by 247 that Deuce Knight is taking another visit to Auburn. And for me, the situation is laughable. Number one, because Notre Dame is in a win-win in this situation. And I really don't feel like Notre Dame is pressed at all. Notre Dame knows they're in the leader position. They've been in the leader position. They know they're being chased. They know who they're being chased by. And they know what it's taking and what has been offered in order to even get in the race. Now, whether or not you respect the young man or his family for entertaining that, I have no problem with him. He came on this podcast and told everybody he was going to continue to listen to other schools and talk to other coaches. So as far as I'm concerned, he told me to my face what he was going to be about. So, think about this, why he just came from Auburn. If he's going back, obviously they didn't do enough the first time to make him flip when everybody was predicting that he was going to flip over a week ago. So let's play advocate here. Either he's leveraging to get more.
But more from who, I guess?
Or he has not seen enough. And I think it was Sid Irish. I got Sid Irish. Matter of fact, Sid, I'll be up there February, dude. We got to link up. I'm coming to MSG, Illinois versus Duke, baby. Illinois versus Duke.
Is Duke has Cooper flag now, right?
In February. Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're coming at him too. My line out. We're coming at him for sure.
Y'all worst thing is no defense.
We're coming at him. I'm coming. Me and my guys, me and all my classmates from U of I. We're coming, taking.
Oh, okay, nice. No, that's cool.
Taking a trip to New York to watch my Illini and MSG. The last time we did it, it was Illinois, Texas. I want to say this was like 2000. Illinois is playing Texas. Dude, you won't believe Corey Joseph was their point guard. Tristan Thompson was their center.
Yeah.
That was the Texas squad we played.
Wow. I'm guessing I didn't win.
So, no, I went to overtime. We ended up losing. But that's another thing. I just want to say with this Deuce Knight situation, Notre Dame comes out looking a whole lot better than people think because it's taking a whole lot. This isn't like a flip. It's taking a whole lot. And I don't want to give away too much because that's not, dude. Put it like this. Auburn's having to do way too much. Put it like this. People can walk away from this saying, yo, they gave up a lot. I'll just leave it at that. If this was a trade going down in sports, this would be like one of those Sam Presti trades where he forces a team to give him like 5 or 6 first-round picks for the next 4 to 5 years in order to get said player, right? And for me, that's Notre Dame. That's the position they're in. Like, yo, he's in our class. If you come get him, man, you are man. You're doing the most to get him. But think about it. If it was really about he really doesn't feel Notre Dame, he would have flipped 2 weeks ago. After he took the first,
he a couple weeks ago.
Right. When certain people at Auburn weren't too happy about the fact that he didn't flip initially. I'll just leave it at that. There were certain people that were pretty upset that he didn't flip when they thought he was going to flip. And he's like, man, look, so he's second guessing the flip, regardless of what heartstrings they're pulling on, regardless if they're pulling on stay in the South, regardless if they're pulling on the Cam Newton. They played the Cam Newton card hard, didn't flip him.
Didn't flip.
It didn't work. They played, ladies and gentlemen, they played it hard all summer. I'll leave it at that. Still hasn't flipped. And I'm not here. He might flip. It might happen.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is it's taking 2 visits in the span of 2 weeks. So I don't know what else. I do. You've already offered the kitchen, dude, the kitchen sink, the pipes, ownership in Jordan Hare Stadium. Like, what else do you have to give? So whatever they have to give, maybe they offer that on this next trip.
That's what it is. So it is one of those things where I think that that's the nature of recruiting. I mean, we're recruiting one of the top quarterbacks in the class.
Notre Dame left. Notre Dame is working from a point of strength.
Yeah.
Point of strength. Like, dude, you know how it is, ladies and gentlemen. Regardless of who you is, you know how it is. Maybe from some of you have experienced in the high school. Maybe some of you have experienced it in college, man. You know how it is, man. When somebody hits you with the "we need to talk," and they give you this long soliloquy of how they think is that, you know, you should break up or just be friends, and you sitting there like, dude, I got a bunch of break in case of emergencies. Like, what you talking about right now? You could have texted me that. Like, you didn't have to come to my room to tell me that. You didn't have to come to my apartment to tell me that. That's what Notre Dame is. Like, dude, what's up? You know what we're saying.
We're really not worried. I think, if anything, we're in a better position now than we were then, because this same type of sort of situation that we're having with Deuce, we were dealing with Dante, and we weren't from the position to leverage a string. And we fumbled it. And in many cases, probably fumbled the situation. But at that time, we didn't have the identity of recruiting that we do now in year 3. And that's the whole point of having multiple years in the program, is you get through tough situations early on, you get to do it better the next time around.
Yeah. And I'm at the point where we have been very forthcoming about our feelings towards Notre Dame doing more, right? To show these 5 stars and these top players that they're wanted, right? Making them feel wanted, and then going above and beyond in the NIL landscape. Man, ladies and gentlemen, stop. Y'all need to stop. Notre Dame's not at fault in any way in this recruit. They've done everything they've done. They've done everything they need to do. All that extra over-the-top stuff, you don't need to do that. You got Kenny Minchie, CJ Carr, and Noah Grubbs in the chamber. You don't want to be part of that? You want to fall for the banana in the tailpipe and be down there by yourself in Jordan Hare, scuffling, trying to rebuild? Have fun with that. Have fun with that. And I'm not even hating, because if that's going to allow everybody around me to eat, I totally understand. I totally get it. I promise you, I totally get it, Left. It's not even hating. I'm just looking at this from a pure program-to-program standpoint.
Yeah.
Have fun with that. As far as life, I totally get it. I can't even sit here and say I wouldn't do the same thing. I cannot. If it was me, I'd probably do the same thing. It's a chance I would do the same thing. So that's that. Indy Milk fan brought up something that you had said on the show, and I think the context and the question was, let me explain it simply, because it's something that I brought up with my time in conversations during the recruitment of one Justin Scott. It is not even about, we're not even getting into that anymore. But I think Indy Milk fan had a question about Justin Scott questioning who he's going to play with. And I think Indy Milton fan and others took it as, they started bringing up Howard Cross and Riley Mills and things of that nature. It's like, dude, it had nothing to do with that. It had nothing to do with that. Players look at who they're going to play with at their position in their incoming class. That's who they're going to spend the majority of the time with. If Justin Scott had come to Notre Dame, he would have spent 1 year with Riley Mills and Howard Cross. One. That's it. Who is he going to spend the next 2 to 3 years with? We see it. This is why I don't understand why people go blank. Dude, Cooper Flagg went to Duke to play with who? Zion went to Duke to play with who? Cats that he knew. Other good players. People go to Alabama to play with who? Other good players. People go to Georgia to play with who? Other good players that they know. We don't have to lament. You all know the defensive line recruiting the last 2 years. Now we're trying to play dumb. Now we're trying to play dumb. Come on, man. Come on,
we don't have any 5-star type of big name, attractive. We can showcase them in the recruitment process. Oh, we got Mr. XYZ. Don't you want to be like him? You know, I mean, it's
doesn't it? But with this case, this is why you can't even take it out of context. And this is the miss. With this case, he's not even talking about cats that he's camped with at the rivals 5-star camp. He's not talking about cats that he knows from watching the rankings and seeing the top 50 on different platforms. He's talking about a cat that literally lived 20 minutes from him in Chicago. Literally. He's watching Notre Dame say, that dude, nah, we passing on him. And that's his boy. And he knows he's a dog. He went and played with him at the All-American game. The USA Army All-American game. They're both down there. And where did they both end up, Left?
Same place.
Same place. So when he says, yo, I want to know who I'm playing with, that's important to me.
Which is why the doctor series is going to help.
Had nothing to do with Riley Mills, Howard Cross. They were at Notre Dame. Had nothing to do with the current coach. He didn't recruit them there, and they're only there for the next year. Heck, at the time, he didn't even know that they were coming back. It was a good chance they were going to the league. So the context had nothing. You don't have to scream, well, Howard Cross and Riley Mills are better than anybody they have. That wasn't even the context of what the young man said.
That's right.
So when you take it over to the message board and just like, no, that wasn't even the full context of what Malik was trying to bring up and talk about in that situation. When it matters, young men, ladies and gentlemen, I'll say this with assurance. If Notre Dame had locked down the wide receivers that visited in June and got commitments, Deuce wouldn't be visiting Auburn.
Yeah.
I'll say that on this podcast. So don't think that Auburn is not sitting there saying, we got 3-4 stars in our class right now at wide receiver. Right now. You don't, please know. And they're from the South. Please know that Auburn is playing that angle. Please know. And please know, Deuce, it matters who he's going to be playing with. It matters to him. Where it sets on his list of priorities, I can't say that. But Justin Scott, it was really high. It was really high.
Cardinal Tate,
boys, it was really high. And it just so happened that one of the boys he wanted to play with just happened to be another dude in Chicago that at one point in time Notre Dame was talking to that went by the wayside. And somehow, some way, they both end up at the University of Miami. Why? Because they wanted to play together. It's the way it goes. So that's the context. It has nothing to do with who's on the roster, who's going to the NFL. It has to do with who's in my class. When I look around in my class, what other defensive linemen, what other dogs do I know? Man, when I'm in a dark alley, when I'm in the trenches and we got to go get it out of the mud against Georgia, or we have to go get it out of the mud against Ohio State in the semifinals of the playoff, who can I depend on? Who? And he feels like out of his mouth, oh, I know I can depend on Keys. I know I can depend on Keys. And lo and behold, in conversation, Justin Scott, this is how players know who the dogs are. Justin Scott in conversation was the one that alerted me to Nate Marshall. Justin Scott in conversation, our first conversation was like, yo, they need to get on Nate Marshall too. I'm like, Nate Marshall? He's like, yeah, he plays for Fenwick. Dogs know other dogs. They know. Like, yeah, old boy can go. That dude can go too. And so that was the context, man. That was the context. So I just ended by this. The context is great players want to play with great players. They want to know who they're playing with in their recruiting class. Not on the roster, in their recruiting class. And as far as Deuce Knight, look, Notre Dame has done all, man, I don't want Notre Dame doing anything else. Hey, dude, they've gone above and beyond for this kid. And if this kid ultimately chooses to go to Auburn, I'm not even mad because I know the reads. I know Auburn has done, bro. I know what Auburn has had to do. I know what Auburn has had to do.
And I know where Auburn is going.
Yeah. And if they feel like Auburn, yeah, and Auburn needs one. Because they don't have a quarterback, bro. They don't have a game-changing face of the franchise, face of the program quarterback. They don't nothing. They have nothing. They lost out on Juju, right? Yep. They tried to flip somebody else. The kid that ended up at Alabama, they tried to get that kid that you love from the Elite 11 left. That kid out of they tried to get him. He said no. They're desperate, bro. They're desperate. They're desperate. And I'm not even mad at Auburn. As desperate as they are,
they're just looking all out. Looking to steal. They say recruiting is not our thing. We're looking to steal.
Yo, I understand, bro. Hey, in this fight, it is literally a fight where you understand all sides. I get it. Auburn is going to do everything that they have to do, and we will see if it's good enough. But just think how amazing Notre Dame, if by chance, because I'm not going to give a percentage. I feel like there's a chance he can flip. I feel like there's a chance he'll stay in the class. If by chance, if Notre Dame survives this, they deserve to put on the Sherman Hemsley, George Jefferson walk. Marcus Freeman should walk to the podium like Sherman Hemsley.
Yeah.
Straight up. Both arms like this. Like, yep. They tried to get him, and we kept him. That is that type thing, because they will have survived probably some of the most desperate, dirtiest, somehow still legal in this NIL Wild West landscape.
Yeah, they seem to keep hands off of Bama and Auburn's recruiting practices. Georgia's in there too. They don't seem to really come down on them like that.
And it get worse with these extra scholarships coming up, and it's crazy. But I just wanted to add clarity to that, bro. Ladies and gentlemen, man, this is a situation where don't even hold anything. Don't even think about. Rest your little hearts and heads and minds. There's nothing to go at Notre Dame about at all with the Deuce Knight recruit. Has no bearing on the past, has no bearing on the future. We got 3 in the chamber, bro. Working from an area of strength. Not even pressed.
Strength, yeah, not.
No.
Got them in the tank, in the chamber, on the shelf.
No.
Under the bed.
Yeah.
You got them everywhere. In the cabinets.
It's all good. It's all good. But I just, moving forward, when you get into what we asked, which was Notre Dame taking a step up in recruiting and going after the top tier talent, which they weren't doing. Now that you're up there, the rarefied air is thin. And this is how it gets. And this is how it goes. And when you work from an area of strength and you have desperate programs like Auburn, because the stuff we're hearing about Auburn, we're not hearing that from Ole Miss. Because Ole Miss is like, yo, we've had quarterbacks. Our coach can develop quarterbacks. We want them. We want them to stay in state, but we're not going to go that far. We're not going that far. Do you, ladies and gentlemen, do you really believe the recruitment of Deuce Knight is all about Hugh Freeze sitting down talking to him and his parents about how great Auburn is and the roster and the chances to win a national championship? Do you really believe that's how Auburn came into this in order to flip Deuce Knight? Come on, man. We know what it's all about. We know what's up. We know what's up. And I'm not knocking the hustle. I'm not in this time and age, I'm not knocking anybody's hustle at all.
Can't do it. And you know, they're only gonna recruit how they can best. National championship isn't in their near future. They're preaching more of what we can give and what we can put around. The winning is not being preached.
Yeah, it's like the ugly drug dealer, bro. The ugly drug dealer. All he can give you is money. He can just buy you things. And, you know, that might hold you. That holds a lot of people.
Holds a lot of people.
That holds a lot of people. Or the ugly athlete. That holds a lot of people.
Holds a lot of people.
It's a lot of ugly dudes with money, boy, out here
winning.
Out here winning, doing things. Like I said, I'm not knocking that hustle.
In a soft conversion.
Absolutely, but you know, they have to ask themselves. They know how they look. They have to ask themselves, is she really in it for me? Trust me, they ask themselves that all the time. Like, yo, is she really in it for me? Or what I have? And if I'm Notre Dame, low key, I might be having that conversation. Like, yo, is he really in this for us? Or what the brand can do? Like,
definitely, because you know the brand is being tested.
Absolutely.
Notre Dame brand is being tested right now. It's brand versus brand. What can you offer versus what can you earn? And for Notre Dame to stand on its morals, this is just another example of how we tend to continue to think stewardship over recruitment. So I do think that this model can't stand the test of time, and hopefully this Deuce thing doesn't put it into another level of disappointment. Because it's once again, this is a top player in the class, let alone top quarterback.
Yeah.
And he falls right through your hands.
Yeah.
And you even started earlier on this one.
Man, they had an early commitment from a guy.
And this isn't like the conventional, oh, I've loved Notre Dame for a long time. This is a left field. Oh, I didn't know anything about Notre Dame. Didn't even know where it was at. A testament to Marcus Freeman recruiting guys that are based on talent, not based on love for Notre Dame being in the top 3.
Yeah.
So,
hey, another GTB question. Joseph Barrett, thanks for tapping in. Is it Final Four a bust for the women's basketball team? Left? You know my feeling, bro.
Muffet won 2 in how long? All right. That's all. We can go to the next one. So I
don't know if it's that bust thing, but I think Niele Ivey definitely needs to get to the Final Four.
That comes through recruiting.
Well, I mean, the backcourt is she has the guard play to get to the Final Four and win the championship. What that paint is going to look like, we have to wait and see. They need to be healthy on the interior, but that guard play is going to be spectacular. You're going to have a lot of fun watching Notre Dame's women's basketball in the guard play, right? But it's kind of like Riley Leonard. Like, Notre Dame is not about to prove anything during the regular season with this women's basketball team. They need the interior to show up during the tournament, right? Let's think about it. They were short last year. who did they lose to again? I forgot who they lost to. But they didn't have any paint, and they were playing a team that had nothing but paint. They got out rebounded by like 12 rebounds, and it still was a one possession game. Still was a one possession game. And that was with Olivia Miles out, ladies and gentlemen. So you can't tell me Niele, they can coach, she can coach her butt off.
Yeah.
Because there's no way you get out rebounded as badly as they did, outscored in the paint as badly as they did, and still have the ball one possession game under 2 minutes and a chance to win. And I think that would have put them into the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think so. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to show you something. You can go over the link for the new merchandise. We got new merchandise over at the Lucky Lefty Podcast store. Go check it out. Great prices, man. We dropped some of the prices on all of our things from last season. We released 3 new lines for this upcoming season, and we have our star athlete for the launch of our screen popper. We launched 3 screen popper products. And Left, you ready to show them?
That's right. I am.
Our main athlete.
Okay. Look, cover athlete. Forget Madden.
Yeah. I'm sorry. The cover
Forget
athlete.
Madden. Yeah, it's the new cover athlete.
Cover athlete for our screen poppers. And here it is, man. There you have it. The screen popper hoodie available over at the Lucky Lefty store. And as you can see, none other the cover athlete is none other than our own Lucky Lefty himself, MALIK ZAIRE. The screen popper hoodie. It's fresh, Left. When I sent it to you, you gave a thumbs up, and I was like, okay.
That might be sold out by the time the show over, man. Them things hot.
So, I loved it. I loved it when you gave the thumbs up to it. I was like, man, that's all I wanted. That's all I needed.
This is better than Christmas, man. Get to be the cover athlete of the month for the Lucky Lefty. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have two other versions, an offensive version and a defensive version, but the cover athlete for our screen popper t-shirts, hoodies, it's also a mug, the long sleeve tee. You go grab it right now. Great prices. Grab those. Proceeds go to Cure for Cancer. For those of you that guys know, last year this time I had just finished up treatment and battling cancer, and fully healthy, 1 year clean bill of health, getting stronger, getting better. My golf game is recovering. I'm loving that, Left. And
it's bouncing back, huh?
Yes, sir. Proceeds are going to the Chicago chapter of Cure for Cancer right here in Chicago. I'm heavily involved with Advocate Christ Hospital in Oak Lawn and providing transportation for older people that have no way to get to their treatments, to get to their chemotherapy, and get to their radiation. It's one of the biggest problems facing our elderly people that are sick. They're not able to make their appointments with their doctors. And I myself, along with Cure for Cancer, is helping to provide funds for that transportation to be provided for them so they can fight the fight that I was able to fight and overcome and be blessed to be divinely healed. So help us by supporting Lucky Lefty. All merchandise and the proceeds this entire season will be going towards that, our screen popper line. The link is in the chat. I put it in the chat twice. Hit the link and support and help us fight the good fight against cancer. We thank you so much for your support, how you continue to tap in and watch us and support us as a podcast. And we're hoping that you will continue to support us in this endeavor as well.
That's real.
Spin it different. I mean, I'm happy you loved it, bro. I'm happy you loved it, bro.
Upgrading this next is up there with the Supremes and the hoodies and all that. Name brand, any name brand you got, we over here.
So Look, Marcus Freeman, he met with the media and gave us the fall camp takeaways. And I'm going to give you my left. You have your 3 camp takeaways ready? Because I can start. My first camp takeaway was tempo, tempo, tempo. Offensively and defensively, there was a very aggressive nature this fall camp. Very aggressive nature. I talked about the efficiency and was like, yo, I didn't know that in a 5-minute period, a team on 2 fields could get as much done as Notre Dame was getting done with the coaches and Marcus Freeman leading the way. It was very intentional. I think it goes into the way they want to play, the change in aggression, and how they want to approach this season, and the expectation that they expect to be a great team
right
at the end of the season. I think that was very intentional, and I love that. That was my first fall takeaway. Number 2, Marcus Freeman does not only think he has a good team or think they can be a good team, Marcus Freeman knows he has a good team. I think we saw Marcus Freeman walking around with a different confidence. I think his ability to relinquish a lot of responsibilities to the assistant coaches speaks to the confidence he has in his coaching staff now, with all of the questions and people having, the ability to veto, which we've never seen before. Like, this guy can veto my decision or who I want on the coaching staff, that type of foolishness. All of that is gone. It's his show. It's his 3rd year. The roster is pretty much his guys, except for some of the veterans that have stuck around, that are team captains that we spoke about earlier. It is fantastic to see Marcus Freeman moving the way he's moving and getting his George Jefferson on. He's walking with swag through practices, and he's even talking in the press conferences with a different demeanor. My 3rd takeaway, man, ladies and gentlemen, and this is why I talked about Deuce Knight the way I talked about Deuce Knight. Hey, look here. Give me my solo shot. Let me go to my solo shot right quick, left. Give me my solo shot. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you this. Know this. If you think Riley Leonard is good, if you're excited about Riley Leonard, heck, if you even respect Steve Angeli, his growth and development, them two young dudes, oh, they bout it. I had to take it back to Master P. They bout it. They bout it, ride it. The tank is in South Bend, baby. The No Limit tank is in South Bend, because there's no limit to the talent in CJ Carr and Kenny Minchie.
No limit.
I'm the no limit. I just had to say that, love. Ain't no limit. That's my takeaway. If you think Riley Leonard is good, you think cool? That's cool. Oh man, what's coming? What's in the chamber, ladies and gentlemen? Oh yeah. You hear what everything the wide receivers are talking about. The DBs like, oh, Riley Leonard, he's putting it in spots. He's accurate. His arm, His arm is the third in the room. That's my 3 takeaways, bro. I could talk about other things, but those are my 3 takeaways right there.
My 3 takeaways, definitely one of them is the quarterback talent, is that we took a total 180 from the talent that we were having that, in my opinion, didn't get us to the top of where we can go. And for us to go through 2 cycles of top transfer quarterbacks, or 3, and now being able to build that roster underneath with Deuce being a key part of that. Yes, we got CJ Carr, great talent. Yes, we got Kenny Minchie, out of nowhere talent. But to have a recruited staple of a Deuce Knight in the mix of what you have already compiled, along with getting a transfer guy here and there, now you're turned into a situation of, okay, yeah, we got that depth. We got things on the way. You're seeing the change of old guard. It's not the old prototype anymore. You changed it to an elite athlete. You got guys that do multiple things, that have accolades. So the bar was raised in that quarterback room through recruiting, and we're going to see the bar of the quarterback play happen I think, through the season. So in year 3, you get to see that be a culmination of what Marcus Freeman dated back to when he had them conversations with those two guys in the hallway. Yeah, we're moving on to bigger and better. And this is bigger and better. You know, this what's brewing in that QB room is bigger and better. The second thing that is a storyline for me is the defensive line, or the stand-up is the takeaway is the defensive line. Those are going to be the guys that we need to figure out. Those are going to determine those playoff wins as well. When we get late in those playoffs, those trenches, those personalities, those players that we depend on, those Riley Mills, that's a captain, those guys need to be making a good amount of plays because those impact playoff games. Michigan won off of the D-line and that front 7 presence. That's where they won. A very stout box. Now you got a Will Johnson, who's the first-round guy, and a couple other guys that played a part, but you can go a long way with D-line. You think about the Alabama-Georgia championship game, that O-line, D-line was about as physical and strong and big as you can get. That was like the highlight of the game, which is every time. It was like an equal match force. And you saw the difference of why that was a championship team and why everybody else fell a little short.
Yeah.
So the D-line making that impact is the takeaway because I need to see something from Al Washington. That's why I said the docu-series, put a focus on, put a spotlight. What are y'all doing over there? What are y'all doing over there? We talking about the third level of defense as the highlight of an Al Golden year 3 defense. The safety net. The back end. It's interesting. You collecting accolades and first round projections at the back end of your defense, but the front end you don't know anything about.
Yeah.
So I do think that that's a takeaway of, yes, we got a good feeling about a lot of guys, but who's going to be the guy? Because we need it. I mean, I think those are key pieces of teams. You think Will Anderson. Yeah, they got a bunch of guys on the D-line, but Will Anderson is a dude. So I think those two. And then our third takeaway is just the year 3 of the program. There's a big difference between year 3 and year 1 of this Marcus Freeman-led program. There's no mistaking. And for him to be dealing with the things he dealt with to get to this level, to feel like he going from thinking he has a good team to knowing he has a good team in a short amount of time, I think these are great strides that were made right on time, considering we got the playoff situation that nobody's ever done in Notre Dame. So he's writing the book on how to get it done for this type of environment. And it's interesting because just had the winningest coach of all time at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And that's that becomes a artifact of a different type of history. That's like the ABA. Do we still talk about the ABA records and all the guys that did good in the ABA? No, because it's different. It's still basketball. They still count. Marcus Freeman is writing a new path. That's statue worthy. And so for that to be a year 3 and seeing the what it means to be a year 3 at a program where we're programmed better than teams that we're playing, which should equate to us dominating on the field pre-snap, pre-game. Because we got together. There's no way you can tell me a Mike Elko has a program better running in year 1 of just getting there than Marcus Freeman in year 3 through adversity, through transfers, through all the things he go through. So that's got to stand for something, and that's my takeaway for going into it.
Yeah. Lucky Lefty podcast. It is one of those things, Left, where things are different. I don't know how best to explain it, but this is a different fall camp in year 3 than the previous camps. I think Marcus Freeman has done a great job of setting the expectation and whether or not he had the horses to meet expectations is a totally different thing. But the expectation has not changed. But you can just definitely tell there's a different vibe this year in fall camp. And that goes from Marcus Freeman all the way down to the players on the roster and everyone involved with the program. And we pointed it out, the way they scheduled the docuseries to us is a clear sign that, yeah, they expect to be in one of the active teams still in the playoffs late in January. That's an expectation. And they set the schedule up for the docuseries as such. Like, we're not going to waste time with the middle of this schedule that's soft. What are we doing? What are we about to give updates on the Northern Illinois game and show footage after that? No. We'll do the text. Man, we're going to knock it out before. And then once we run the schedule in November and route USC and Florida State,
drop a new episode.
That's right. That's
right.
right.
We can't even film the end of the season because we expect the end of the season to be a little bit longer.
Yeah, facts. So I love this.
This is why, you know, when stuff like this happens, something in the football, guys, allows you to play at a higher level.
Yeah,
and that's what we're expecting, a higher level from this football team, from this program, and from these players. I mean, a lot of guys have came back. We're one of the few programs in the country. I don't know all the numbers specifically, but I feel like we're one of the few programs in the country we don't have guys leave.
Yeah.
And not only have guys leave, have guys that want to come back. Xavier Watts didn't have to come back.
No.
He didn't have to come back at all. Hell, Caleb Downs left Alabama. So
well, he probably doesn't leave at Saban stays. But yeah.
So I'm saying from a situation of like, this is a place that's still where you want to be. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, Lucky Lefty podcast. Our boy Little Left in the background. So let's transition to Marcus Freeman. We gave our final takeaways from fall camp, and Coach Freeman, he met with the media, and he gave his takeaways, and it's very interesting how he opened up the press conference and what he had to say. Take a listen.
Really the best Jersey scrimmage I've been a part of, to see two groups really competing throughout the entirety of the scrimmage. Again, not everybody played. Some guys got a couple reps and got some live reps. We pulled them, but it was really good to see. And I told our coaching staff, man, that's the most prepared group I've been a part of. Both sides of the ball, really competing, really executing. Not trying to trick each other, just doing what you've been doing. It was a great scrimmage, so I'm very pleased. Look forward to go back and watching it and finding ways that we have to improve. So with that, I'll open up for questions. The one we were pretty healthy. Chance Tucker got injured. I don't know the extent of his injury. I think they said it was a lower leg, knee, but I don't know the extent of it. But other than
that, they're pretty healthy. Chance Tucker, hopefully he gets back healthy. We know Charles Jagasaw is injured. Mitchell Evans, Bauman, pretty much BMO is definitely ahead of schedule. BMO told you when he was with you, when you were at his camp, BMO told you he was going to be ahead of schedule. Because people were whispering he might miss the first game against Texas A&M. And, from day one in recovery, Benjamin Morrison was like, no, I'm playing. So I think you said his dad wanted him to take it easy, if I'm not mistaken. And he was like, no, I'm getting ready.
Yeah. And it's one of those things as a player, when you're in it, is you just kind of, you get lost in that whole, like, in the moment thing. Like, you don't want to miss any time. You want to be a part of everything that's happening because of your effect and influence you can have on the game. But you have to think about your brand and your business. You're a first round guy with all the potential in the world, and resting is the biggest money maker you got. No play can be bigger than you being healthy going into draft. So it's one of those things where he's got to kind of take a step back and realize that this is where if you're not 100%, why even go out there versus Miami of Ohio? Leave that for the Faisons and and the Jaden Thomases who need those plays to get ready for Senior Bowl, this, that, and the third, right? So it's okay to be smart in this situation because you're of that talent, and there's no reason to push it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Lucky Lefty podcast, Marcus Freeman then began to talk about his impressions for the improvement. Riley Leonard. Remember Riley Leonard was pressing Gino Gaduli left about going live, taking the red jersey off. Marcus Freeman was asked about that and what his thoughts were. Listen what Marcus Freeman had to say about Riley Leonard wanting to go live and, you know, what Riley Leonard brings. You're going to love this, Left. I promise you, as soon as it's done, just jump in because it's the end that's going to make you happy, Left.
We know he can do some things with his legs, but we've kind of forced him to say, hey, we know you can run the ball. Let's continue to watch you progress in the passing game, making checks, being able to put the offense in great situations. That's what you're most pleased about, but he's taking care of the football, and that's what we need out of our quarterback.
Left is happy. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Marcus Freeman just made Left's day. He just proved Left's point all summer long. Like, we don't need to know about his legs. Marcus Freeman kept that red jersey on because he heard you, Left. I think he heard you. Dayton boys, you think alike. You Dayton boys think alike. Okay, I'm going to give Dayton his props today.
Yeah,
Dayton boys think alike.
The one thing about Dayton was you cannot pull the wool over our eyes. Cannot do it. Marcus Freeman was like, I get all y'all hype. You're not going to hype me. You're not going to hype me. I'm year 3. I done seen it all. I thought I had the record holder passer last year. And I done seen running backs I let go and brought back, and I put him over on the other field to catch the ball. So I done seen that. You're going to keep that red jersey on because you ain't fooling me. I need to see that arm come alive, Riley. I need you to see that Steve Angeli put that thing together. Put us in because we know one thing. We don't need you to do anything more than what we ask you. And what we asking you, and Marcus Freeman had to make sure this time, because that 3-game contract just didn't seem to stick with the last one. This is about improving the passing offense of this team. That's what you came for. Because we can run. He said, you go to the run back room, you turn the lights off and just put your head in there, and you can just pull somebody out. That's what you can do with that running back room. So we don't need to see legs necessarily. We need to see you throw that pill around, get outside them hashes. And I think that's the best thing that Marcus Freeman could have said to let people know that I'm aware. I know what's going on. I'm not out here just drinking the Kool-Aid thinking Riley Leonard's going to run me to the championship. No, Riley Leonard's going to have to throw me to the championship with running being a nice care package, with running being a nice attachment. I need him to be able to aim, so we gave him the scope with the run game, but the gun is the pass game. The scope is the run game, so you can just get a little bit better. Just see a little bit clearer, just a little bit extra. You might get that 4-for-1. That's what that scope do. So I think Marcus Freeman is very locked in, and he knows that if he can get that out of Riley Leonard, you're just seeing a dynamic offense.
Yeah, I love hearing that from Coach Freeman. Like, nah, bro, your legs, I don't care nothing about that.
I don't care nothing about that.
I need you to call checks at the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
Throw this rock.
Yep.
That's what's going to make our offense go. We'll get to the legs.
He was like
legs later.
Riley Leonard probably was like one of them little kids that was like, watch this, and they do a little trick. I seen that. Call me when you doing something for real.
Right.
You could go to the family dinner and impress all the family with your little 1-2 spin. When you come around me, you want to show me that I ain't going for it. I need to see something I can. Oh wow! Don't tell me, hey, I can do this. I ain't. No, I'm not giving you that satisfaction. Absolutely not. I know you can do that. Impress the family with something else. Tell a joke. Give me something I can run with. So yeah, I think that's a good awareness of a year 3 guy. See, in year 2, probably would have got Marcus Freeman a little bit because he ain't up on game. He was Marcus.
And you remember when Jaden Thomas was hyping up the legs of Riley Leonard and the name he threw out there? See, Marcus Freeman, boy, he was on his dating again in this press conference. Marcus Freeman, when he heard what was said, this is what Marcus Freeman had to say. Watch Marcus Freeman's response. Watch the response.
I'm no quarterback guru. JT's opinions is JT, but he's a physical, good-looking dude, man. I don't know how big Josh Allen is. I don't, and so I don't think he's Lamar Jackson, the NFL MVP, but he's exactly what we need.
That's right, JT, calm down. He's
Yeah.
telling, hey, JT, relax.
Hey,
Ladies
all
and
that-
gentlemen,
all
he
that
might have
we
been
don't need
tripping
all
a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, he might have been tripping a little bit, okay?
Yeah.
The whole Josh Allen thing, the
I don't
size.
know if he buying for more throws his way because he know that competition at 6 is getting hot, and he need his last little hurrah. But no. Marcus Freeman said, I hear it too.
He was
Like,
at table. He was at table later that night, like, hey, yo, did you hear what I said about you, dog?
Yeah. He said, hey,
13.
I had to drop a couple gems, my brother. I had to just drop a couple, something I noticed. I had to go tell the press. Marcus Freeman like, whoa, I know y'all not going in here get Lamar. He said, the NFL MVP. He said, hey, listen. He said, he a big, good-looking guy, but NFL MVP. He said, MVP. He said, no, listen. He said, I don't even know how big Josh is. So his opinions is his opinion. Meaning, I know he's just trying to get on his good side.
Right.
He just want a couple more passes his way. But he's exactly what we need. You know what I mean? I don't know what everybody else did. I know what we need. And Ryan Leonard definitely fits that bill, or at least Marcus Freeman hopes so.
Lucky Lefty podcast. Marcus Freeman, what has improved with your team? What has improved with your offense? Marcus Freeman, I like what he said, Left.
The elimination of mental errors, pre-snap errors, formations, like it's clean. From practice 1 to practice 15, you've seen it become clean. Like it's an explosive offense. They do a lot of different things, a lot of motions, a lot of shifts. They utilize a lot of different personnels. And when you do that, it takes time to get clean, right? And what I say is when there's clarity, then you see velocity. You see guys playing with speed. And that's, to me, the biggest positive is that, man, the execution, the way you eliminate pre-snap penalties has really been pleasing to see.
Hey, well, I told you that tempo. That's one of my takeaways. The tempo. Both sides of the ball. The speed they play with it's evident. It's evident, Left, and he's talking about it. And low, they have been clean. I really had to go back and think, like, yo, because they have refs there. Yeah, it wasn't a lot of flags. They have been clean.
And that's good football. And that's just guys knowing their responsibility and their job. And when you know your job and responsibility, there's no need to hold. Because you're beating guys to the spot, you ahead of the play, you ahead of what's going on. So for that to be another benefit of having a year 3 program.
Yeah.
They can go into a program and look around and be like, okay, I just got to follow what these guys are doing. Okay, I just follow along. These first year coaches with no senior leadership, no guys has been there. Everybody knew, everybody getting to know each other. Naturally, it's just harder to do.
Yeah.
Marcus Freeman got guys he can point to. Is going to the league, guys at the first round, guys that are doing all the right things, guys that have been here before him, so he has enough references for a guy to come in and be like, okay, I can pick my lane. I know how to be successful at this program in year 3. And the recruiting is only getting better because of that.
Lucky Lefty podcast. The O-line, the big question mark. The conversation is raging in the chat. Yo, will we have 2 freshmen starting on the left side? Marcus Freeman, he talked about it. Hey, when are you going to decide who's starting on the offensive line?
Named a starting offensive line yet, and we will at some point. We have too soon, but what they've done is they've created a lot of confidence in the offensive coordinator and offensive line coach with what they've been doing with their reps. I don't care if it's been with the 1s or the 2s. We want our guys to know that we're evaluating everything you do. Now the challenge is when you're young and you're doing a really good job with the 2s, we got to put you with the 1s. We got to see what you can do versus our best, and that's what we've done, and both of those 2 have done an unbelievable job.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to let Left ride, because I see a lot of people in the chat saying the offensive line is concerned. Ladies and gentlemen, relax. Offensive line was a concern regardless of the injury. If Blake Fisher was starting left tackle, offensive line was going to be a concern. The moment Blake Fisher said, I'm not coming back, offensive line became a concern. We already knew Joe Alt was leaving. Offensive line was a concern. We knew that. This is not something new. But the panic and all of that, like we knew this is a transition year in the offensive line, and Joe Rudolph has to do his job. Period. He has to do his job. Yeah. He has to do his job. See, this is the problem. Notre Dame fans are spoiled, left. You say it all the time. We've been so spoiled by offensive line play, we don't know what it looks like to have to take a step back and transition.
Unrealistic expectations for
unrealistic expectations for offensive line, because the pressure is always on the offensive line for the offense to be successful when you haven't had NFL caliber quarterbacking and you haven't had NFL caliber wide receivers. What offensive line deserves that? We talk about all the skill positions deserving a better offensive line. What offensive line in any other program deserves the quarterback and wide receivers that have come through this program in the last 5 to 7
those
years?
two groups.
What offensive line deserves that? What?
They're holding up, hoping they can pop their head up, see something downfield. They ain't seen nothing downfield.
Did Joe Alt and Blake Fisher deserve that wide receiver core last year? Did they deserve that? Did they deserve the quarterback play last year? They got all the blame for everything, but did they deserve that? Did they deserve that? You have to be fair. So they're going to name starters, I think, coming up. Probably the conversations took place between Denbrock, Rudolph. Marcus Freeman also said in the press conference that they were going to start talking about it that evening, which was Saturday evening. So I think a couple more practices this week as they begin to prepare for Texas A&M solely, and we'll know. Marcus Freeman will let us know. I believe this weekend he meets with the media again. He'll let us know. I think he'll let us know then. I won't talk about the ins and outs of that until we get to Mike Denbrock, because Mike Denbrock has some fantastic things to say. Let's go to Al Golden, left. Al Golden talked about what they've been building. Year 3 in his system. Youngsters, once again. There are a lot of youngsters, first-timers in the linebacker position, getting time at safety. Nobody's panicking. I don't hear any panic about the linebackers. None. No panic about the linebackers. None left. They're just as inexperienced as the offensive line. Right? Oh, a freshman. You want an undersized freshman All-American to play at middle linebacker? Because that's what I've been hearing. KVA should start. Fans, KVA should start over Drake. We should just play KVA. Really? You want KVA to walk in to a stadium with 105,000, calling checks, getting everybody set up? That's what you want him to do? But then when it comes to the offensive line, like, oh my God, we can't start a freshman on the offensive line. Like I said, I'm going to say that for the Mike Denbrock piece. But Al Golden, he talked about his third year and what he's trying to build, not for the present, but listen to what he said, Left. You might be impressed.
Vocal about it, but I would say, Mick and Al feel the same way. We're trying to develop kind of a herd at each position or a pod that we can rotate through, irrespective of where we play, So obviously the heat in the openers, one of the elements of the game. But, for us, we're trying to develop that at every position. If you had Mick up here right now, he would tell you he's trying to get 8 to 10 guys ready. I know Al's, somewhere around 10 or 11 that he's trying to get ready to play. So that's our mentality. We're trying to build for the long haul.
I told you, the mindset has changed, bro. Mindset has changed. Long haul. It's bigger than Texas A&M. They expect to beat Texas A&M. They expect. Doesn't matter. We understand. We got youngsters playing at these positions. We're a great team. They know it. They don't think it, Left. They know they can be great. I believe the coaching staff knows they can be great. They're not satisfied. They're not saying we're great right now at this point. We're not going to be great when we get to Texas A&M, but by the time we get to November, December, we have a full expectation that you're going to see we are who we think we know we are. Now, who we think we can be. See, because Marcus Freeman, he set the expectation. Marcus Freeman knew he didn't have the horses in the quarterback room, bro. He knew that. That's why he had the conversation with Tyler and Drew Pine halfway through the year, his first year. The expectations were the same, but he knew. He knew. He thought they had a chance to be good if certain things happened. Now, he's like, oh, I got the depth.
I got the depth.
If you don't want to act right, oh, I can go here. I can go here. And so when you hear him saying Al Washington has 10 players, he's getting ready. Word, you got 10 cats on the D-line? Okay. Mickens. He said Mickens getting 8 guys ready. 8 to 10 guys ready on the back end. Say what? Al Golden's like, hey, we're building herds. We're building herds at every position. We're not dependent on one guy to be great. We're building herds. We have putting together a lot of great guys, really good guys. That's why we asked the question, is this Notre Dame defense getting to a point where you're going to expect this every year, that they're going to be very good and dominant?
Yeah. And that's what you can appreciate about having a core and Al Golden being able to know that he's like, listen, guys, I've been building this thing for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So whether we add new guys or not, the core of what we do exists within that defense. We can add and teach anybody how to do a couple things here, a couple things there better. But overall, we're at a point where we have enough film for guys to go back and watch previous guys do it. We have enough of information to hit that curve a little better, especially for guys coming in. That's why you start to see a huge jump of guys coming in with a Carson Hobbs and Christian Gray and make that gap a lot smaller. Not only having Ben Morris and Xavier Watson guys in there, but having film of those guys when they were their age, running the same stuff, follow the path. So that's the benefit of having a year 3 defense in Algo.
He also talked about 3 freshmen. Leonard Moore, who's recovering from a slight injury, has missed. I don't think he played in the scrimmage. Leonard Moore, dude. Mike Mickens is getting another freshman. What do you know? Mike Mickens has another freshman defensive back ready to play. Carson Hobbs had an adjustment early in camp. They decided to move him because of his physicality. They started to train him at nickel. He's going to be your future nickel behind a Jordan Clark. He's going to be that guy. Very physical, loves man-to-man coverage. He's learning how to play that position. He's starting to come along. Al Golden talked about that. Then he mentioned Bronte Johnson, who came along. You're starting to see his athleticism. He's not thinking anymore. He's learning everything that's asked of him. The physical gifts and skills are there. You're waiting for the next guy to step in for Xavier Watts once he leaves. Bronte Johnson has the skill set and the talent at that position. Don't forget, you had Jadon Blair coming in next year, Ethan Long, and the rest of those great safeties in that safety class. The safety position is going to be, man, top-notch moving forward. Building for the long haul. Al Golden is telling you, it's not just about Texas A&M. It's not just about 2024. We're building for the long haul. We're building for championships, multiple championships, and being a consistent, dominant defense here at Notre Dame. You have to love to hear that. One more clip from Al Golden before we get to Mike Denbrock and the offensive line left. This is what he had to say about the offense. Let me know if you like what you hear from the defensive coordinator talking about the Notre Dame offense in fall camp.
So number one, they have a quarterback that can distribute, right? So, or he could solve it with his legs, which is really, I mean, that's an awesome starting point. I think that everybody talks about Mitch, but the other 2 tight ends behind him have made great strides. So now all of a sudden there's different combinations that can go in the game. I love our running back core, different combinations of wide receivers in the game. So the totality of that if you will, provides great challenges. You know, it's not like, oh, just take away Mitch or just take away Bo, or, you know, hey, we got to focus on Jeremiah. You know, it's not that, because then Riley can get you with his feet.
Al Golden on the Notre Dame offense and what he's seen in fall camp. You shaking your head up and down, left, like, I like that. I like that.
I just like that it's a different feel, and it should be different than what we saw last year. So as long as there's differences that's being seen, I'm expecting a different outcome, and hopefully a heavier concentration of focus in certain particular areas, you know, and not just being a good offense, but an offense that's good because of what we got better at. You know, let's just not be good because we can still run the football till the lights come home, you know. So it's way better for us to be good at what we sought out to be better at, and getting a Denbrock, and getting a quarterback, and getting these transfer receivers, and recruiting these guys and putting things in place. So if we can be better by what we intended to be better on, then that's when you see if the offense made that jump. So for everybody saying it's different, that's good, but how is it different?
The jump in excitement, let me try to give you a reference point. Jump in excitement. My excitement for this season and what I've seen and the changes that I feel like are going to be impactful and immediately felt by the fan base, it's like being in the bedroom and waiting for your significant other, and she comes to bed in a wool onesie with a headscarf on. No action. Immediately, you just feel like we got no action.
None.
Versus your significant other walking in the bedroom, and oh my gosh, she has been to Vicky's Secret. And the hair is fresh. And she's smelling like that Vicky's Secret body lotion. You get excited, bro. As soon as you walk in the room, nothing ain't even happened. And I'm telling you, nothing. The season hadn't even started.
You get to look it over. You look it over.
Man, that's the difference, Notre Dame fans. That's the difference. That's the difference. And anybody that has gone to practices that will sit here and tell you that they don't feel the difference when it comes to this team and this offense and compared to the previous 2 seasons, they're not telling you the truth. They don't have to be hyperbolic. They don't have to convey it the same way I'm conveying it. But there's definitely a difference. There's definitely a difference. Yeah. Lucky Lefty podcast, man. It is what it is. I'm sorry, Newt Rockney. I'm sorry. You like the wool onesies? Newt Rockney must like the wool onesies, bro. I don't like that wool onesie.
Give me something right.
The house shoes, the robe with the string being pulled at the end. I don't like that. No. Don't walk around the crib like that.
Yeah. Don't even, right.
Lucky Lefty podcast. When we come back, we're going to talk about a Notre Dame legend capping. A Notre Dame legend capping. And we're going to hear from Mike Denbrock and talk offensive line to seal up this episode. Lucky Lefty podcast. You already know. We spin it different.
What's up, family? The merch shop is finally here. Lucky Lefty Network merch shop. We got it all. From the shirts to the hoodies to the hats to the nitty gritties. Come here right now. Shop with us. Come get the swag, because you know, if anything else, we spin it different. You see the gritty. You see how we get down. It's elite.
Lucky Lefty podcast. ONORA boys in the building. Malik, ZAIRE, SHAUN Davis, brought to you by ONORA Whiskey at ONORAWhiskey.com. That premium American whiskey at ONORAWhiskey.com. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, audio edibles over at CFE Nation. Patreon.com/Lucky Lefty Network, YouTube, Lucky Lefty Network. Subscribe, hit the like button, leave your comments and questions. We respond to all. X, Instagram at Lucky Lefty Pod. First part of the show, we heard a lot from Marcus Freeman. His takeaways, we gave our 3 fall camp takeaways individually, and then we talked about the importance of the Notre Dame captains, what it means, and we gave the outlook for the 5 new captains for Notre Dame 2024 season that were named on today, and their outlooks individually, what they mean to the team. We're forever committed to being the home of the misguided passion, and you already know that we spin it different. Now, you know I hate to go at Notre Dame legends. As a Notre Dame fan and someone that covers the team and recruiting, you know, I love Notre Dame to the core, Left. And sometimes, you know, you just have to call a spade a spade. And I pulled out the biggest cap I could wear when I saw this piece of video. Ladies and gentlemen, don't do this. Ride with your boys until the wheels fall off. Unlike this Notre Dame legend when he said this. Take a listen.
We are playing at the Hard Rock Cafe Stadium, Miami Dolphins Stadium. For people that don't know anything about that stadium, there's only one tunnel. So both teams come out of the tunnel. We were the #1 ranked team in the country that year, so we're the home team. We came out of our locker room first. Alabama hadn't come out of their locker room yet. So everybody stopped us at the tunnel and said, hey, you have to wait. You have to wait until Alabama comes out. Wow. So I'm one of the captains. I'm in front of all my guys. Alabama hasn't come out yet. My guys are hyped. They're loud. They're doing their thing, right? And when I'm in game day mode, I see things, but I don't. I'm kind of just in my own little zone. Alabama's locker room door opens and they start running out, right? And they're going out. And I do remember this very vividly. My soon-to-be teammate, DJ Fluker, and Chance Warmack come running out of the locker room with their jerseys
tucked underneath.
No, it's up. Their big bellies are out. And they have their fours up. And I remember DJ going by and saying, womp, 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 womp. And I remember vividly remembering the silence behind me. And I kind of glanced back at my teammates, and the eyes on them were so large, I knew at that time, I was like, all right, this is going to be a long day.
Oh, no.
To my guys' credit, they never flinched. But let me tell you guys, when we played the Alabama team in 2013, there was a difference. There was a difference with those Bama boys.
First of all, Cap, I love you, Manti. I love you. People in the chat like, Manti's a legend. We love you, Manti. You captain. Don't make it seem like the boys behind you was the only people who eyes got big. Your eyes got big too. I remember you meeting Eddie Lacy in the hole and getting blown up.
He had plenty of opportunities.
Absolutely.
They was running right at him. Now it's not like they ran away or ran to the side. No, they said, where Manti at? We're going right there in the middle. Chance Warmack right down the middle.
Right down the middle.
So yeah, and we saw how y'all ducked out of some of them. They used to slow-mo. They would use the slow-mo in the national championship game with you not wanting to put your body in front of the man. And hell, I wouldn't either. But you left that part out.
Threw your boys under the bus, though.
But yeah, you made it seem like you had to carry a bunch of guys that was just scared. Well, you just like, these guys wasn't ready. I just had to. No, you was one of them guys that wasn't ready. I mean, nobody was. Hell, we was at halftime. They said that Coach Kelly didn't even say nothing at halftime. He just like, let's just try to finish strong. That was his iconic second half national championship speech. Let's just try to go finish strong. Let's finish. Go ahead. I got to hit the Hard Rock and put some money down on some couple tables. Go ahead and get out of here because this shit about to get ugly. It's iconic. It's one everybody on that team will forever remember what Brian Kelly said coming out of that half. Let's just try to finish strong.
You came to campus like weeks later,
semester,
right?
Yeah, weeks later.
Weeks later, you showed up on campus. So the stories that you heard were similar to that, but they kind of included everybody else instead of separating. Like, I was good. You know, Ev didn't tell you like, yo, I actually balled out a little bit, made some plays. I was straight. Ev didn't single himself out.
Well, you know, Ev a different kid, but I think overall, nobody was prepared to be the reason why they win that game. I think everybody was comfortable in the fact of,
hey,
sometimes you hold them and sometimes you fold them, and that was one of them folding days.
Hey, bro, I'm here to tell you, when I saw that clip, I was like, man, Ty. Because at first I'm like, okay, he's about to be 100 with this.
Because he almost talked like he wasn't even there.
Right.
Like he was watching on TV, like, wait a minute.
He was the mascot leading them out on the field.
Yeah, he's like, I look behind me. It was dead silent. Like, wait a minute, you was in the crowd though. You wasn't in the stands. You was leading the charge, like you said, the first one, you know. So I think he's just having a little revisionist history, a little point of view speak outside of I mean, what could you say? Hell, if I was him, I'd be like, man, what I'm gonna say? I went in there and was scared. Yeah, no, I look scared, but maybe I was. Shit. I mean, that team right there was different. So I think there's levels to things, but I think in 2024, college football is not that far off from each other.
No.
I don't think there's a Bama team that's like that in 2024.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. Lucky Lefty podcast. That whole run that was beginning right there, bro. That's
they don't even make kids that big. You know, not on that quantity of people. I mean, their whole team was like, come on, dude. Who's playing with that?
Lucky Lefty podcast. Marcus Freeman met with the media. We talked about that. Al Golden, man, building something for the long haul. Mike Denbrock, though. The scrimmage was won by the offense. Left the last scrimmage ending fall camp was won by the offense 42-40. One would think Mike Denbrock would be happy about that. Listen to your offensive coordinator, your offensive coordinator, Left, Mike Denbrock. Listen to him talk about that 42-40 victory in the scrimmage.
I'm really hard to please. So I didn't really like it, to be honest with you. I thought, did you guys know what the score was?
We were 42-40.
Yeah, I mean, if you were asking me if we would have played the way we're capable of playing, I would have hoped that there would have been a little bit bigger margin there. But, you know, there's a lot of things that we're still growing from and cleaning up, you know what I mean? And I'm not going to sit here and say that we're any sort of a finished product in any way, shape, or form, but what I'm most proud of with this group is their expectation, I think, for themselves has begun to grow. Almost they require it from one another. And when we actually make that leap where that's our mentality offensively, we've got some pieces. We've got some people up front. We got some people on the perimeter. We got some people throwing it. We got some people catching it. We're going to continually get better. The faster we can speed that process up, fine. But today for me was 42-40 to me is kind of like, yeah, we won 50% of the time and we weren't as successful 50% of the time. So we're going to have to go back, analyze the tape, learn from what we did wrong, and fix it so it doesn't have to be close next time.
That's your OC, Left.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you would hope there are things to work on after your scrimmage this early in the year. And I think he's right. There's things that you can be excited about, but things that you probably were more excited if it did work. So you talking about that margin being bigger. That's like, what, 60 points that you're saying that you need to score? Hopefully we get to that. Hopefully we have enough talent and concentration for guys to get to 60 points. But I do think that it's easy, again, for Denbrock to say coming off of a year of a Heisman and 2 first-round receivers. Hell, so he can easily go up there and be like, yeah, it was all right. It was cool, I guess. I mean, I just had Malik Neighbors, so I just had Jaden Daniels, you know. So, I mean, we did good, but, you know, I've seen what it could look like. So I think that was just a little flex, but also Denbrock wanting to push. That's the way he pushes his guys in his offense to that next level is a challenge more so than it is a he's not actually happy with what went on. You know,
I love the fact that he was like, "Yo, we got dudes up front, we got dudes outside, we got dudes in the backfield, we got quarterbacks." He's letting you know, like, "Oh, I got dudes," which lets you know why he wasn't as happy. Like, yo, we're better than this. We can be better than this. If I can get them to where they need to be, and they're starting to take ownership of that, if I can get them to where they need to be, look out. Look out, because we're going to be good. Has any offensive coordinator had back-to-back Heisman quarterbacks?
Lincoln Riley.
Yes, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. He wasn't the de facto offensive coordinator, play caller, but yeah, you're right. Lincoln Riley. That would be dope if Denbrock could pull it off at two different places. That would be dope. That'd be dope. Heck, Notre Dame goes undefeated. Riley will be in New York. I guarantee that. He'll be in New York. You can guarantee that. Lucky Lefty podcast. Mike Denbrock also talked about, here's the question, Left. Here's the question. The young O-line, right? Everybody's been talking about in the chat all show. The young O-line. I'm worried about a freshman at left tackle. It was, okay, Mike Denbrock, he already said we got dudes up front. We just heard the OC tell you, oh, we got dudes up front. Yeah, we got dudes up front. That's without Charles Jagasaw. This is him on his young offensive line.
I think it's what we ask for as coaches, right? They consistently perform at a high level, and stacking days together and stacking periods together and stacking reps together. This isn't anything we've rewarded them with. They've earned opportunities to be seen against the best things that our defense can provide us, and then we'll make our final decisions and evaluations from there. But it's because of the work that they've done, because of the consistency that they've shown and the ability that they've shown, quite frankly, that's put them in the position to do it.
So he's talking about Sam Pendleton, freshman, redshirt freshman, and true freshman, Anthony Knapp. By the way, on 3 preseason freshman All-American, Anthony Knapp. Congratulations, young man. He's talking, look, this is earned. This is Mike Denbrock. He just said we got dudes up front. Didn't he just say that? Didn't your offensive coordinator? He's not like Colin Klein saying, oh, well, you know, we're trying to figure the offensive line out. Like I heard Colin Klein say this weekend for Texas A&M. 2 weeks out from the game, you still trying to figure out the offensive line? Man, Mike Denbrock is like, yo, we got dudes up front. We got dudes up front. And these young players, we're not just putting them in there just to put them in there. They earn that. They earn that. That's not how we do it here. Not under my watch. Sam Pendleton, he earned that. Anthony Knapp, he earned that. Now we can sit up here and talk about they 290. That's fine. That's cool. But I don't have a problem with freshmen earning spots. I don't have a problem with freshmen earning spots. And I hear, you know, it's also most people in the chat talked about freshmen starting. Joe Alt started as a freshman. Blake Fisher started at Florida State as a freshman. Ronnie Stanley started as a freshman. What's his name? Robert Hainsey started as a freshman.
No, Ronnie was a redshirt, right?
Huh?
Ronnie was a redshirt freshman.
He's just like Sam Pendleton. It was his first start, redshirt freshman. Who am I missing? Robert Hainsey, freshman. Steve Elmer, true freshman.
True freshman left. Yeah, he just slid
that's 5. Like, this is what Notre Dame does. This is not the Notre Dame does. We're not shocked when Leonard Moore is getting ticked. We weren't shocked when Jaden Mickey was playing against Ohio State. We weren't shocked when Christian Gray was playing early as a freshman. Why? Because that's what they do. That's the system Mike Mickens has put into play. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Notre Dame. Developing and playing young offensive linemen is what we do. That's what we do.
What we do.
Going to the transfer portal, getting a terrible right guard on offensive line.
We have the opposite luck. We have the opposite luck with
that is not what we do. And we learned our lesson. Never do that again.
Yeah, we don't even play with O-line no more. We're like, we'll take a homegrown.
Yes.
We'll take it home. We tried the O-line don't work with us.
Yes.
Maybe the receivers and the quarterbacks, but not.
Yes. Absolutely.
Which showed you that we got the right processes and player development at that group.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So look, man, either Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman has said on multiple occasions, we're going to run the ball. You heard the offensive lineman come and tell you, we're going to run the ball. Mike Denbrock just told you, we got dudes up front. He didn't say we were all right. He didn't pacify you like Colin Klein. Man, we still working some things. Mike Denbrock, an experience, I tell you what, he just won a Heisman and put 2 first-round wide receivers. The LSU offensive line was horrible last year. Go listen to the podcast. Go watch their games. He had a horrible offensive line last year. Horrible. Let's talk offensive line. Name one offensive line starter that played in front of Deshaun Watson and Goldilocks at Clemson. I'll wait. Name one dominant starter that played on that offensive line. Because we're going to talk about the importance of offensive line when you have skill position at wide receiver, running back, and quarterback. How important is that offensive line? Just how dominant do they have to be? Right. Just how dominant, Left?
No, they got to be pretty dominant, especially, man. Yeah, for us not to produce the first round receivers that I feel like we should have and had just bare minimum success on skill positions, being worth anything in the end of the season for awards and stuff like that, and still put out offensive lineman after offensive lineman after offensive lineman shows that, man, I'm not gonna say wasted, but there was a lot of opportunity we didn't take advantage of.
Thank you. That's all I'm saying, Left. Show them some respect. Show them some respect. Show them some respect. This is a lot, bro. There was a lot of opportunity there. They gave you opportunity against Clemson in 20. They gave you opportunity early in the championship game when your quarterback missed on 2 wide open fourth down opportunities to have a 17-point lead early in that championship game. Offensive line did what they were supposed to do. They did what they were supposed to do. And all of a sudden, Goldilocks and Clemson woke up. Of course, you want to blame the offensive line. Offensive line to do their job. Dude, you had an opportunity to have a 17-point lead because of the offensive line, but your quarterback wasn't good enough to take advantage of the opportunities early.
Because he had the turnovers, right? It was the turnovers on their side of the field. Yeah.
Dude had a wide open tight end, threw the ball behind. This is what I'm talking about, Left. And this is why the offensive line, have your concerns, have your questions. Marcus Freeman knew this was going to be a young, inexperienced offensive line last camp. He knew both of his tackles were gone.
Yeah.
Everybody around Notre Dame knew Blake Fisher wasn't coming back. They knew that.
They knew that.
Anything short of an injury, he was gone. They knew Joe Alt was gone. Joe Alt probably would have gone first round last year.
Last year.
They knew Joe Alt was gone. Marcus Freeman knew this is a transition year. I'm going to be playing a young, inexperienced offensive line. I'm not going to the portal for the O-line. We're going to play these young dudes. We're going to coach them up. That's what we're doing. But we're going to go supplement and make sure we're thick in the wide receiver room. We're going to get better. We're already dope in the running back room, but we're going to be even deeper. We're going to build around this offensive line so they don't have all the pressure on them. That's what great teams do. Alabama got to the playoff semifinals with a terrible offensive line for the most year last year. They were horrible. They were horrible. In the SEC, they were horrible. They were horrible.
So it's interesting.
And on the flip side, you had 2 offensive lines that were deemed being fantastic. The Washington offensive line, which you saw once Washington faced a real defense, not the Pac-12. Once they faced a real defense, that offensive line didn't look the same, did they?
Not at all. But Michigan's front seven was pretty solid.
They didn't look the same. The Joe Moore Award winning offensive line didn't look like that against Michigan when they saw a real defense. That's all I'm saying, man. That's all he's telling you. Mike Denbrock says we're going to be better.
We're going to be better.
We got dudes up front. They're going to get better. As an offense, we're going to get better. He's telling you.
Denbrock knows. He's like, look, the offensive line, I ain't got to worry about it. They're going to be all right. We got dudes. I'm at Notre Dame.
And he just, once again, he just produced record offenses, a Heisman, and 2 first-round wide receivers with one of the most mid and average offensive lines in the entire SEC last year. That offensive line was mid. Go look at their running number. Mid. That's why they threw the ball so much. Mid. So you have your concerns, man, but stop being so hyperbolic about it.
Right.
This isn't something Notre Dame plays offensive linemen early. That's what they do. That's not a panic. That's what they do. That's what they're set up to do. Play the most talented people early. And in 3 years, when we're all celebrating, oh man, we got 2 more tackles and 2 more offensive linemen getting drafted in the first round. You're not even gonna be thinking about,
right?
Oh man, because Jackson's coming back next year.
Yeah, he is.
He's coming back next year. So I'll go through the growing pains or whatever I have to go through this year because I know next year that offensive line we're gonna be talking a lot of trash to teams like, oh, we're about to dominate y'all. Easy. We're about to dominate y'all. We're about to dominate. We got Ashton Craig, Billy Shroud, Jagasaw. We got the 25 class coming in.
25 class coming in. There's some dogs.
On top of Anthony Knapp and Pendleton and Sullivan Apps are still in the chamber. What? Come on, man. What are we talking about? What are we talking about?
What are we talking about?
So what? We got to go through a little something. We got to go through growing pains and a transition to get to who Notre Dame always is. That's right. Emil Wagner will be back next year and be better at right tackle. What are we talking about? Yeah, you think about the depth that exists now. It's just inexperience. Kirby Lambert.
It's inexperience.
It's just inexperience. But the depth in the offensive line room is bananas. It's bananas to the point. And we don't, ladies and gentlemen, don't overthink this. Don't overthink this. It's not a what. The young players are better. Young players are better. Do you think the starting small forward on last year's Duke team that returned to the roster this year, the Proctor kid, you think the Proctor kid doesn't know that Cooper Flagg is the dude next year? I don't care how long he's been. I don't care how long he's been playing. What's the other point guard for Duke? This is going to be his 3rd year. The little tough kid, number 5. Doesn't matter. Who's the dude next year, left? Who's the dude? Cooper Flagg's the dude next year. Why? Because he's better. He's better. He's better.
He's already practicing with Team USA. 17.
And that is offensive line play at Notre Dame, ladies and gentlemen. The better dudes play. It's been like that. Play them. Play them. Not a bad thing. Play them. Let them go through their growing pains. It's okay. There's more talent around. That makes the situation totally different than any other time youngsters have had to play in Notre Dame. It is. Mike Denbrock. Don't believe us. Hey, coach.
Believe me, coach.
Yeah, why? Why, coach? Why the young offensive linemen? Why would you do that? Why would you play them at Texas A&M right off the bat?
Development that's taking place with us now offensively, I think can continue to get better and better and better. And, you know, where we're going to be week 1 and where we're going to be at the end of the season, I hope that everybody in here can report that you can visibly see how much better they are now than when they started. And I think you can see that from where we were in spring ball to where we are now. And it's up to us as coaches to make sure that that process continues.
Did you see what a real coach just did? He took the accountability. It's our job. It's our job to make sure they're ready. It's our job to make sure they're better.
Yeah, I love that he took that because that's a common, easy thing for a coach to do. But you're there to coach and make them into the best version of how you see the offense. So he understands that role. And hell, like I said, Denbrock's coming off of a all-star type of season. He could believe he could turn anybody into a Heisman or a first-round receiver after what he just did. So he like, man, this is my job. I can do this. I know what the formula and the sauce and the secret is. If they just listen to me, I can get them there. So, it sounds like the right man for the job.
Yeah, Newt Rockney, man, I don't want to hear that. Y'all miss me with that. We got to beat A&M. Notre Dame's a better team. They had the better roster. They had the deeper roster. You can talk about that defensive line. That offensive line is in shambles. 2 weeks out. They just lost Reuben Owens. They got a quarterback that's always injured, hasn't proven a thing. They went and got subs to supplement the worst defensive backfield in the SEC last year from guys that didn't even start where they were. And their linebackers are a question mark. Don't talk to me about Texas A&M. I'm with Paul Feinbaum. What makes them so great? They were deeper on the defensive line last year and still was subpar defense. So they're the Monstars now. But they got a defensive line. What else do they have? I'm still waiting for people to tell me what else they have that I'm supposed to be scared of. What else do they have? Because all you're going to say is they got a defensive line. That's it? That's it?
And it ain't no four All-Americans like Clemson.
No, they went and got a guy from Purdue, Gordon, who he was great in the Big Ten. Let's see. Man, dominant against Illinois. Really good against Iowa. Really good against Wisconsin. But as great as he was, that Purdue defense stunk. You know why? Linebackers weren't good. Defensive backs weren't good. Dude, this ain't a one-person game. This isn't a one-unit game. This is a team. Team. And Mike Denbrock told you, I got dudes everywhere. That's what he just said. We just played the clip, Left. I have dudes. He didn't say I have okay players. He said we got dudes up front. We got dudes up front. Yeah. We got dudes in the backfield. All over. He said this is real similar to what I had at LSU. And the offensive line. We're the offensive line with dudes. So, dude, I'm not saying don't be skeptical. I'm not saying things don't have to be proven, but stop jumping off, walking up to the ledge, ready to jump off. Relax. What are we talking about? Relax. It's okay. Notre Dame plays young offensive linemen. This isn't like a new occurrence. Oh my God, we have to play a young freshman.
It's easy to do because we got other guys that have been there that can bring them right along.
Yeah, they've done it. And if it's any group that knows how to move like that, it's the offensive line. They've been moving like that for years. It is what it is. So once again, I just asked, tell me what else they have besides the defensive line. And you start talking about the stadium. Come on, man. There ain't no stadium about to intimidate Notre Dame. Stop. It's okay to be skeptical. It's okay to worry about the offensive line, but stop being hyperbolic, over the top. Listen to the coaches, hear what they say, trust the coaches. I trust this offensive coordinator with the offensive line coach a whole lot more than I trust the combination from last year. And that was with 2 NFL tackles. I think this offensive line at the end of the year could be better than last year's offensive line. Honestly. And I think that's an impact of Riley Leonard at quarterback and the impact of Mike Denbrock as the play caller. You'll see. He took it even further. He took it even further left on why they're contemplating playing these young players that are proven they're ready for the big time. Why, Coach Denbrock? Expound even further.
It's almost like when you have, a lot of people in here have their own children, right? So at what point do you trust them to themselves, right? You're ready. You're ready for this, right? Or do you hold on and say, well, this maybe is not the best place, or those are hard decisions, right? Within families and obviously within trying to construct an offensive line that can match up against our week one opponent and all the ones down the road and be the type of force that we're going to need that group to be. So those are not easy scenarios for sure. And we're trying to work through them and make the best decision that's best for the.
Yo, that's your offensive coordinator saying they're ready. Yo, I trust his expertise, his experience as a play caller, saying we have dudes up front, and he's telling you this freshman is ready. I just came from the SEC. I coached in a road game against Texas A&M. I coached against their defensive line. I'm watching this young man practice every day. I'm watching him practice against another great defensive line in the country. I'm telling you, this kid is ready. It's just like being a parent. Do you hold them back or do you let them go because they're good enough? I'll give you a great story, ladies and gentlemen, because we're almost done. School calls my wife and I, my daughter's in kindergarten. Call us, they bring us in. Mr. Davis, Mrs. Davis, we like to move Ariel to first grade. We look at each other and we're like, what? Like, yes, we would like to move her to first grade. We know she can do the work. She's bored in kindergarten. Move to first grade. We come home, we have a conversation. Both of us are like, no. In a moment, we're like, that's our little girl. Man, just let her grow naturally. Let her be with her own class. No. Protective. This is how protective do you want the coaching staff to be when these young players are showing and proving that they're ready? What do you want? Either you want them to go and learn and grow and start the process now, or do you want to baby them? And this is what Mike Denbrock is saying. What do you want us to do? What do you want us to do? They have proven to us throughout the spring and the fall that they are ready for the big time. They're ready. It doesn't matter what their weight says. They're that weight. They're that weight proving that they're ready. They're proving to us in practice consistently over and over again at 290 pounds that they're ready. I've seen it. I've coached against it. I know what I'm talking about. I know what to look for. They're ready. You know what? Stop saying I don't know SHAUN. Say I don't know Mike Denbrock, because Mike Denbrock said it. You're not arguing with me. You're debating with Mike Denbrock. You're debating with Mike Denbrock. Call Mike Denbrock a liar. Because I'm reporting right now what Mike Denbrock said. I just played the clip. That's what Mike Denbrock said. He said they're proving that they're ready. And it took the wisdom of my father to calm me and my wife down and ask us, can she do the work? We said, yeah. He said, if she can do the work, let her go. And we were like, she's always going to be the youngest in her class. And how's that going to affect her moving forward? He said, she'll be fine. Let her fly. And he was prophetic, and her life has flown ever since because she was ready to handle everything. Did she have some bumps in the road as she moved into high school? And things she was the youngest in the group, and she was dealing with certain conversations and certain surroundings that she had never dealt with before. Yes, but guess what? Like the coach just said, it's his job. As parents, guess whose job it was to make sure she was prepared and got through that? It was our job. It was our job. We did our job. Thank God. Thank God. We did our job. To him be the glory, because it was all his plan. Thank God. And hopefully we're going to be saying, like Mike Denbrock said it, hopefully in the middle of the season, you guys will be reporting. You'll be reporting about how incredible this offensive line and these young men have been and how they've grown. But Mike Denbrock is saying, I can't coddle them. How do I tell them? How do I tell these young men that compete and you'll get an opportunity? And then they go out and compete and consistently prove it over and over again against one of the best defenses in spring and fall practice. And then I tell them you're 290 and you're a freshman. I don't want to take the chance of playing you at Texas A&M. Then you just lied to them. How much credibility do you have as a coaching staff? If you tell them, as he said in the clip we played, if you tell them these are the parameters and they fulfill everything that you put in front of them, but then you say, no, it's Texas A&M. It's 105,000. You're a freshman. No, coach. You told me if I do X, Y, and Z, and I'm the better man, I should have the opportunity to play. Anthony Knapp is out there. Sam Pendleton is out there trying to play. Sam Pendleton ain't thinking about, oh, it's going to be 105,000. No, I shouldn't practice hard enough. I don't need to prove myself. It's 105,000. Anthony Knapp is out there practicing his butt off. You think he's really thinking about, oh my God, I shouldn't practice this hard because then I'll start. It's 105,000. He's not thinking that. He's worked his butt off all spring and all summer to say, I want to play. I'm ready to play. I want to be a part of this team and this good offense, this great offense, what it could be. That's what he's saying. So what are we talking about? Notre Dame gets every single best shot from everybody. Every away stadium is rocking. This is once again, just like I talked about the offensive line. This is what Notre Dame does. Sold out, rocking stadium, raucous crowd on the road. When does Notre Dame not do that? When is that not the case? When is that not the case? When was that not the case for Ronnie Stanley? When was that not the case for Blake Fisher at Florida State on the road? First game out of high school. When was that not the case for Joe Alt? First time he went on the road. When was that not the case for Ronnie Stanley as a redshirt freshman like Sam Pendleton? When was that not the case for Robert Hainsey at right tackle? Steve Elmer at right guard. When was that not the case, ladies and gentlemen? That's par for the course in Notre Dame. You're expected to be able to handle that. That's what we do. How does a redshirt freshman third string center stepping into Death Valley in the middle of a third quarter? How did he do? You know how he did? The team captain for the North Carolina State Wolfpack, he beat him out, made him leave the program. Zeke Carrell, remember him? Remember him? Why is he now at North Carolina State? Because of the third string center, red shirt freshman that was ready to play when he got the opportunity. That's Notre Dame offensive line play, ladies and gentlemen. The majority of the time, the people are ready to play. The youngsters are ready to play. Ashton Craig got his opportunity. He did his job. Zeke Carrell had to go. Zeke Carrell knew it. Got to go. And now he's a captain at North Carolina State. A captain that had to flee because the third string center got his opportunity and said, yo, I can play. Let me show you. Who are we? Who are we to say Sam Pendleton can't show that he's ready? Who are we? Who am I to tell Anthony Knapp he's not ready because he's 290 and he's a freshman? Who am I to tell him that? Who am I? The ball is in his court. And he doesn't have to be dominant. He has to be just good enough to give Notre Dame an opportunity, to give the running backs a crease, to do what they do. He has to be just good enough to fight. To fight. Yeah, doesn't have to dominate. Just don't let your opponent dominate. If you can just fight to a stalemate, as a freshman at left tackle. Guess what? We're going to win because we're better. We're the better team. We got the better quarterback. We got the better all-around defense because we're not just about the front four. We got linebackers, and we got one of the best defensive backfields in the country. We have a complete defense. And let's keep it honest. Their defense coordinator, nah, he's not as good as our defensive coordinator. Let's just keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck. Let's spread it out. Stop looking at it just offensive line. Just look at this entire game. You start feeling a lot better about it. I'll take Al Golden over Jay Bateman any day. Any day. Any day. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? This is not about, and this is not to take shots. No one should be taking shots at Pat Coogan. No one should be taking shots at Tosh Baker. They make their experience, especially their gameplay experience, gives you depth and veterans that can play multiple positions in a crunch if injury takes place. Who else has that on the offensive line? There's very few programs that have depth like that with game experience. And this is just an if Sam Pendleton is the starter, if Anthony Knapp is the starter. If they're starting, it's because they earned it. And if they earned it, I trust Mike Denbrock. I trust Joe Rudolph to say these guys are ready for this environment. Mike Denbrock was like, what do you want me to do? I'm like a parent, man. These kids are showing me that they're ready. It was like, do I have to let them go? I have to let them go. I have to let them go. And I can relate. That's why I gave the story of the sound wisdom that my dad gave us. And I'm so happy we listened to him, man. Because as a parent, all you want to do is protect. That's all you want to do is protect. And the truth of the matter is, man, if you're doing your job as a parent, at some point you have to trust that you've done what you're supposed to do. And Mike Denbrock is saying, man, we're at that position where, we might just have to trust that what we've done this spring and this fall and what they've shown is good enough on the road against Texas A&M. And who am I to argue with the man? I'm literally taking what he's saying and providing it for you, the Notre Dame fan base, to say, hey, this is what your offensive coordinator is saying this about his young offensive lineman. This is what he's saying. We get ready to end it with Mike Denbrock talking about his wide receivers.
Answer is yes, we do have the pieces to be more dynamic at the wide receiver position than I think over the last few years. I hear that a lot. I think it's going to be a combination of guys. I don't know that there's necessarily one alpha that has kind of separated himself in that room. There's a bunch of really talented ones, and at times they flashed here, flashed there, and they've all had their collection of different guys of making good plays at certain parts of a scrimmage or a practice or whatever. So I think at least in the beginning, it's going to be a little bit more of a mix and match, and the depth there obviously helps. There's some good depth there. And we're going to move those chess pieces around, kind of, Coach Al kind of talked a little bit about the same thing, right? It's fitting the system to the players and fitting the positions within the system to the players' abilities, right? And that's what we'll be, and that's how we'll go about it.
For the man to say we're fitting the system to the players, and you consistently hear the players say we're going to run the ball and be explosive, that lets you know the talent they have. They have dominant running backs. They feel like they have dudes up front. Marcus Freeman said in the first practice, we're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball. He reiterated last Saturday, we're going to run the ball, but we're going to have an explosive offense. You keep hearing this from everybody, coaches and players. We're going to have an explosive offense. Guess why? Because they finally have explosive players, not just in the running back room, but at wide receiver. They have Jaden Harrison. They have Chris Mitchell. They have multiple guys, Jordan Faison, multiple guys, not just one, multiple guys that can come at you in waves. Cam Williams is a true freshman, multiple guys. If Cam Williams is running a fly or a post, there's not too many people that can keep up with him in college football. They have 3 to 4 guys that can take the top off of defense. When was the last time, ladies and gentlemen, you heard 3 or 4 guys in the Notre Dame wide receiver room that have the ability to take the top off the defense? When was the last time you heard that? It's been a while, hasn't it? It's been a while, but that day is here. That day is here. It's here. I saw it in practice. I'm like immediately like, yo, this wide receiver room. I forget about Michael Gilbert, what he did in the spring game, what he did all spring. His coach said, and Mike Denbrock said, Michael Gilbert's had a great spring, and now he's fighting his tail off to be in that 7 to 8 man rotation. Talking about a true freshman, proving himself, but it's so much depth, so much good depth. Of course, a lot via the portal this offseason, but so much good depth that this kid that probably would have been on the same level of Rico Flores and Jaden Grayhouse last year, who had to be in the mix of the top 5. Another great move by Marcus Freeman, knowing that he had an offensive line that was going to transition, knowing he was still going to have a good running back room, even with the loss of Audric Estime, saying, I have to go put talent around these young offensive linemen until they're ready to really start dominating and rolling. He knew. He knows his team. That's what I love about Marcus Freeman. He knows his team. Expectation is the same, but I'm honest, and I know what's on my roster. I know I need to change this quarterback room immediately. He did that. I know I need to upgrade this coaching staff. He did that. I know I need to upgrade the recruiting and start going out after top 50 players. He's doing that. The next step is holding on to them. I have to improve the safeties. He did that in recruiting. This defense has to get better, more consistent, top 5. They're on the way to doing that. You have a head coach that is very honest. While the expectations stay the same, he's very honest about what he has and the questions that need answering. And he knew with this offensive line being experienced, no matter what happened, we're going to have an inexperienced offensive line. We're losing 2 first and second round tackles. We have to supplement them and alleviate the pressure off of them so they can grow. And he went and did that via the portal at the wide receiver position, recruiting at running back to give extended depth. Ladies and gentlemen, they lost Jabron Payne. Big time loss. Leadership in that running back room. And they just went and got Devin Ford, who they had moved to safety because of the 2 freshmen that came in. Look at this. This is crazy wealth at the running back position. They moved a veteran running back that got carries last year to safety because of these freshman running back we got coming in. They're studs. Oh, Jabron went down. You know what? Devin, forget about safety. Come on back to the running back room. Come on, man. Mike Denbrock told you today, we have dudes on this offense. Multiple dudes. Chris Mitchell told you the other day, this is my first time being on a team where I'm not one of 2 players on the entire offense that can make plays. Usually it's me and somebody else. We're the playmakers. Now I'm surrounded by playmakers everywhere. This is what Chris Mitchell said. Yo, I have my concerns, but guess what? I'm going to sit back and see. Prove it to me. Okay, coach. You say these freshmen are ready to play? You're taking the accountability and responsibility for them? That's what Mike Denbrock did. That's what he said. It's on me, and it's on us as a staff. Okay, coach. If it doesn't work, we're coming right to you. If it doesn't work, we want to hear from you. But I'm going to take your word. I'm going to take you at your word, Coach Denbrock. You have dudes up front. I can't wait to see them. Can't wait to see the dudes up front. These freshmen are proving that they're ready. You say they're ready. Let's rock and roll. I don't care if it's 50,000, 70,000, 105,000. I don't care. If you say that they're ready to roll, let's rock out. And at this point, Notre Dame fans, we don't have any other choice. It is what it is. Let's rock out. It's year 3, baby. No excuses. This program should be much better. This program should be good enough to go down there and win by 10 points on the road. However it plays out. Close game until late, come back, whatever it is, get the victory. I'll take a 1-point victory, but I would love to see a double-digit victory saying we're here. It's year 3. We're ready to go to the playoffs and make a deep run and start the road to being serious national title contenders. That's it. That's it. I'm greedy. Nothing wrong with that. Lucky Lefty Podcast. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, audio edibles each and every day. Lock in with us. Patreon.com/Lucky Lefty Network. Don't forget Lucky Lefty Pod on X and Instagram. And on YouTube, follow us, Lucky Lefty. Hit that like button. We appreciate it. It helps with the views. Check out our reels and our shorts as well. Our poll questions are going to be starting the rest of the week. And then leave your comments and your questions. We respond to all. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. We are the home of the misguided passion. You already know we spin it different. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for joining us tonight. We'll be back Wednesday. As we said before, our fall schedule is going to be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then the post-game show, and then we'll be posting special shows on the YouTube page that we probably won't be doing those live, but we'll be recording special shows and posting them in between the Monday, Wednesday, and Friday schedule, along with post games on the weekend. And we will have the players only post game show. Former Notre Dame players, their post game show right here on Lucky Lefty, starting with the first game at Texas A&M. Have a great evening. Thanks for staying up, especially if you're on the East Coast, man. We appreciate you guys. For my guy MALIK ZAIRE, I'm SHAUN Davis. We'll see you Wednesday. We'll dive in a little bit more on the linebacking core and Mike Mickens and his defensive backs right here on the Lucky Lefty Podcast. Most of all, make sure that you continue to spin it different.